When I met David, my husband, my life seemed perfect. We had a comfortable home, an adorable child, and above all, stability that many envy. David is a good man, caring, and I never had to doubt his fidelity. In fact, he found me a job at his friend Mark's company, a charismatic, confident, always well-dressed entrepreneur. At first, I saw Mark as just a boss. His compliments seemed innocent, his glances, almost harmless. But the weeks passed, and I felt a stirring inside me that I couldn't ignore. One evening, after a meeting that ran late, he offered to drive me home. In his car, he took my hand. I hesitated, but I didn't pull away. That simple gesture opened the door to a story I never imagined. Since then, everything has changed. I've been sharing a burning passion with him for 9 months. A passion that blinds me and chains me. Mark left his wife, saying he wants to build a future with me. Meanwhile, I lie to my husband, to my child. I say I'm going on business trips, but I sleep in my boss's arms. I know I'm playing with fire, but every kiss, every stolen night makes me feel alive. Yet, a choice must be made. Mark isn't like other men. He has that confidence that makes every word powerful, every gesture irresistible. With him, I'm no longer just a wife or a mother. I'm a desired, alive woman. Our meetings became more frequent. Every excuse was a doorway, a business trip, an extended meeting, a late dinner. I always found a reason, and David, trusting, never questioned me. Over time, Mark crossed a line I hadn't expected. He left his wife. He told me there was only me, that I was the chosen one. I believed him, and I wanted it too. But this promise came with a condition. He wanted me to leave David. Not tomorrow, not in years, but soon. And he was willing to wait a year after my divorce before marrying me officially. His words still echo in my mind. I'll wait, but I want you to prove you're ready to do anything for us. I find myself trapped between two lives. One, stable and gentle, with a loving husband. The other, fiery and unpredictable, in the arms of a man who makes me feel unique. But I know, sooner or later, the lie will be revealed. And that day, I will inevitably lose something. I tried to resist, to extinguish the flame that was growing too fast. But every time I thought of leaving Mark, he caught me with intoxicating words. He promised a bright future, spoke of trips, freedom, endless passion. David spoke of bills, our child's school, the routine. One nurtures my dreams, the other my reality. One evening, David surprised me. While I was packing after a so-called seminar, he said softly, "You seem different lately, more distant." His worried gaze pierced me. My heart clenched, but I smiled, lied, said I was just tired. I hated myself. Yet the next day, I was back in Mark's arms, as if my remorse vanished with each embrace. Then, a detail troubled me. Mark grew insistent. He wanted me to mention him to my family, to prepare the ground. He said David didn't need to suffer long, that it was better to cut ties quickly. His words chill me sometimes. I loved his passion, but feared his impatience. What if I was only a challenge to him? A conquest after which he would tire? Yet every time that fear emerged, he looked at me with intensity, and I fell into the trap again. I feel the noose tightening. Pressure is rising. Mark no longer accepts my hesitation. "You must choose," he keeps repeating. His eyes blaze with a determination that frightens me. David recently surprised me with a weekend getaway. A trip to the countryside, away from everything. During those 2 days, I saw in his gestures and smile a sincere, pure love, a love I have trampled for months. I wondered, what if I let it all go? If I broke up with Mark and stayed with my husband? After all, David gave me so much stability, so much trust. Our child adores him. But barely back, Mark was waiting at my office, as if he sensed my doubts. He kissed me with such intensity that all my resolutions evaporated. "Don't make me waste my time," he whispered in my ear. His words felt like a threat, or a plea. I no longer knew. I play a double role every day. Morning, perfect wife. Evening, fiery lover. But I know, this game won't last forever. Someone will discover the truth. And that day, my life will change forever. One morning, everything collapsed. David received a message from Mark, accidentally sent to him instead of me. The words were clear. "She's mine. Soon everything will be official." My heart stopped. Everything I had been hiding for 9 months crumbled in an instant. David read it. His face turned pale, his eyes full of incomprehension and pain. I could no longer lie. I tried to find words, justify, calm him, but every syllable fell flat. David left in silence. He didn't scream, didn't cry. He simply left, and for the first time, I saw the depth of his suffering. Mark, meanwhile, was inflexible. "This proves you must join me," he said almost coldly. I felt trapped. Between guilt and desire, I didn't know whom to listen to. And then, that day, our child ran to me, laughing innocently, unaware of the tension suffocating me. That laughter broke my heart. I sat alone, thinking about my choices. Was it fair to continue this lie for a passionate love? Or should I finally face reality, the family I betrayed every day? Mark promised a bright future, but at what cost? Every decision seemed to steal a part of my soul. The following days were a silent hell. David barely spoke to me, but his presence at home reminded me constantly of my betrayals. Mark, on the other hand, became impatient. He wanted me to leave David immediately. "Patience is no longer a virtue when you truly love," he told me. His eyes flashed, impossible to ignore. One night, I dreamed of David crying alone in the living room, while Mark waited impatiently in the bedroom. That dream would haunt me for a long time. I realized I had to make a real decision, one that would end this whirlwind. But which one? Then I discovered a secret Mark thought well hidden. His company wasn't as successful as he claimed. His investments were risky, and he had already accumulated significant debt. If I followed him, I wouldn't just lose David. I would risk financial stability for myself and my child. This revelation changed my perspective. My heart wanted to burn for him, but my mind begged me to be careful. I realized that loving someone is not enough. One must also be able to build a life with them, not just share fleeting passion. And then, an idea formed in my mind. An idea that would shake everything. I started manipulating the situation. If Mark wanted me fully devoted, he had to understand I wasn't just an emotional toy. I spoke of an immediate divorce, but didn't sign the papers. I stressed responsibilities, the child, security. Mark gritted his teeth, surprised by my resistance. "Why complicate what could be simple?" he asked. I felt each word was a small victory. I was regaining control. Then one evening, David confronted me calmly. He didn't yell, didn't judge, but said something I'll never forget. "I know you still love me, in some way. But you must choose, and quickly." His words hit me. I understood I had abused his trust for too long. Mark, meanwhile, was growing more possessive. His passion was turning into pressure. He wanted me entirely, and I felt that his promises of stability and love could become chains if I continued. A decision was necessary: follow my heart or save what remained of my family. And just as I was about to make the choice, an unexpected event happened. A message, a meeting, something that would change the course of everything. It was an ordinary morning until I opened my email. An alert, an anonymous legal document detailing Mark's debts and financial manipulations. Everything I suspected but didn't want to see was there, in black and white. I felt my world tilt. Passion, promises, everything seemed to collapse. David appeared at the door. He had read everything. His calm terrified me. He said, "You played a dangerous game, but we can still save everything." I broke down. I finally had a chance to fix my mistakes. Mark, furious at my sudden caution, tried to manipulate me again. "You can't leave me now. You love me," he shouted. But I didn't let him speak. For the first time in 9 months, I made a decision guided by reason, not desire. I confronted Mark, ended our affair, and asked him to leave. He left, angry, hurt, but I knew he wouldn't return. David and I began a long path toward rebuilding. Trust, once broken, takes time. But he was there, by my side, and this time, I knew I couldn't lie. Our child, innocent and joyful, became the center of my life again. And in this chaos, I discovered a truth I never imagined. Mark had left a trace, not just emotional, but legal. I discovered some documents he had made me sign were fraudulent. David and I had to consult a lawyer, understand the damage. Fortunately, we were able to correct it, but I realized how naive I had been. Every act, every lie had a cost, and mine had hit hard. Beyond fear and financial danger, something surprising appeared, a renewed connection with David. We talked, at length, about our desires, frustrations, and regrets. For the first time in 9 months, I didn't feel ashamed to just be myself. But there was one last surprise. One day, I received an unexpected call. Mark wanted to see me, seemed to negotiate or beg. But what I discovered at that meeting shook all my convictions. He wasn't alone. Beside him stood his wife, whom he had never truly left. Everything I believed was a lie, a manipulation to test my love and loyalty. I felt anger, shame, fear all at once. Everything I had built with David was threatened by the truth behind Mark's facade. But I didn't give in. I took David's hand over the phone and said, "It's really over." Mark and his wife left, furious and humiliated, leaving behind the debris of our passion. Time healed our wounds. David and I began to rebuild trust. I realized true love lies not only in passion, but in stability, loyalty, and the ability to weather storms together. Our child brought us closer. Every innocent smile reminded me that some things are worth every sacrifice. And Mark, I never saw him again. He became a ghost of the past, a living warning of what temptation and illusion can cost. A year later, we celebrated our wedding anniversary in our garden, surrounded by our child and a few close friends. I looked at David and smiled, a smile full of gratitude, relief, and rediscovered love. Past mistakes were behind us. We had survived the storm, and we were stronger for it. Mark's intoxicating passion was fleeting. True power lies in fidelity, forgiveness, and commitment to those we love. I stayed with my husband, not out of fear, but choice, and this time, it was forever.